Hello, and welcome to the My Old Car video log, where I document how I maintain, repair, and occasionally make upgrades to my 1974 Chevrolet Monte Carlo that's been my daily driver since 1984. With dedication and tenacity, you too can make your first car your forever car and drive it forever. Today I'm going to be messing around on my 1968 Cadillac. And one of the issue I've been having is my windshield wiper motor right here. Well, this is the washer part, but the motor, which is down here, it works fine. It's just that sometimes it does not want to shut off, and this is one of those intermittent problems. And so what I'm going to do is to try and diagnose this a little further to see if it's either the switch or the motor, and I suspect it might be a relay in the motor. I'm going to remove this plate here. This is an access plate. It's actually pretty, they actually had forethought. One of the rare times where the engineers and builders actually had forethought. This is an access plate to get to the connector for where the motor makes connection with the wiper arm mechanism. And so I'm going to undo this plate, gain access to that to undo the connection. So that way, as I'm running this, the wipers aren't going on and on and on and on. Don't need to tear up my wipers. So let's get started on taking this thing off and see what's underneath here. Okay, this is going to be a little bit shaky, but I'm going to show you what it looks like in there. There you can see, there goes those two nuts. They are 3/8 nuts, and they hold a clamp for a ball in the middle of that arm, that sort of eccentric arm that comes off of the motor, off the back of the motor. So I'm going to be unscrewing those, and then get ready to see if I can reproduce the problem of this thing intermittently shutting off. Alright, now fortunately, I'm sorry that this is handheld and I don't have any image stabilization. Nevertheless, unfortunately, the nuts that they used, these nuts, they're self-locking. So you don't have to actually take them off. And I only needed to remove them or loosen them enough to where this ball right here, see if you can see that any better. Here we go, you can probably see it a little bit better. Where this can come up and apart, so that way it will dislodge from the cam on the motor. And since I don't want this thing to drop into the unknown abyss below, I held it up with a piece of wire. So, should get on to taking that motor off. Alright, so to determine the operation of this pump, or rather of this motor, I'm going to need to take the pump off. Screw back into here because that's a ground strap. Alright, that's low. There we go. That's low. Medium. high. Something's smoking. And I don't know what. Whatever it is, I don't like it. Well, that was exciting. So, after seeing how there was smoke coming out of the motor in the car, I don't think I want to go any further with diagnosis. I think I'm just going to go and straight up replace it. So anyway, here's my replacement. And one of the things I wanted to point out, these are straight up 2-speed motors. I linked to a couple of videos where they discuss that. One is to Chris Craft and the other one is to R&R Restorations. In any case, you'll notice that on the switch for the Cadillac, it has 3 speeds: low, medium, and high. Now, the low does what it's supposed to. There's the medium. Here's the high. Now, in terms of how these things are wired up, it's really interesting. I mean, it's quite clever. These things are wired up outside the box. What I mean is, normally, current. And this is the hot right here. There it is, the hot. To change like the speed of a motor or something like that, it's normally done by manipulating how much current goes to the item. And so in this case, what the GM engineers had done is they designed this in such a way where you don't control how much current. It's always either full current or no current. What you control is the ground. You'll note this clip here is attached to the body of the switch, which is attached to the body of the wiper motor, which is attached to the negative terminal on the battery. So, and this is an inherently 2-speed motor. What that means is there is a resistor built into this setup here, and it's either on low or on high when you set these things up. Like I said, that other video talks all about it. But Cadillac has put in an intermediate speed. And the way they did that is they put a resistor on the actual switch itself. It's pretty clever, but I want to show something to you. I have a thermometer here. Right now, this thing's at pretty much room temperature. Let's take a look at this, shall we? Come on. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Let's turn this thing on. So as you can see, it's about, whoop, you can't really see it, but I'm going to put it over here. You can see it's at about 20, 21 degrees C, something like that. Now, when I start running this thing in intermediate, that thing is going to start heating up. Look at how hot that thing is getting. Now, when I ran this earlier, this got up to about 100 degrees centigrade, which is about 210 degrees Fahrenheit. And so if these things, if you don't run this too long, or really long, and it collects some dust or dirt around it, it'll start burning that dust and dirt off. In fact, you might not be able to see this, but it's actually doing that right now. Maybe with a little dark behind it, you might be able to see some smoke coming off of that resistor. That's pretty trippy. In any case, now that I know that, I'm probably going to just stick with high and low. And I'm going to forego the intermediate because I'm not sure I like to have that much heat being generated on the inside of the car. Yeah, it's like a clever little sort of like, ooh, special feature, but at what cost? In any case, so there you go. going to be taking out the old motor here shortly, and come with me on that journey. Now, for those of you who are electric tech geeks, here goes the wiring diagram for the motor and the switch. And you can see right here, this is the plug right into the motor, and then this is the plug. Here's the shape of it. They even show you the shape that goes onto the back of the wiper motor. I'm sorry, the wiper switch. And oh yeah, here goes the plug that goes into the motor right there. Now, as I said, what's odd is this here is a built-in resistor that is like the low speed resistor, and then right here this is the hot that goes, or I should say, you know, this is the high speed, and it goes past this relay. It's somewhat elegant yet complex. Anyway, right here, where is it? There it is. That's the medium speed resistors right there on this switch. And so when I wired it up, you saw how it operated. But in any case, for those of you that need to see the whole tech part of it, here you go. Take a look at it. Freeze frame this if you like. Alright, so the nuts or the screws that hold that thing on are 5/16. I have a 5/16. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. I have a 5/16 wrench. So let's get with it. You really don't want to lose these. Alright, now to take this this cam off of here. See about this gasket here. Alright, so I clean this thing off a little bit. Put this back on here. Alrighty. I already got the gasket on here. Now, before I put it back into the car, I'm going to liberally grease this with either some chassis grease or some wheel bearing grease. Nice and liberal. Alright, so I got some chassis lube here. happens. Alright, now when getting ready to put this pump back on, one of the things that they don't tell you, well, that isn't obvious, is there's a hole right here. And that hole has to line up with this little hole right there. You use a 1/8 inch rod or tool if you want, and you put it through here, to the back, right there. And then you rotate this until that other hole lines up with it. There. Now you can put this right on there and it'll be all lined up, ready to go. Of course, the things that I neglected to do was to take off this screw right here. That's the one on the outside. Just there. Now once it's all tightened down, pull this thing out and it should all be bitching. Now, I'm not going to worry about the washer for right now. These things tend to go bad all the time, and it's mainly because they get rarely used. You know, the fluid inside, you know, and also, okay, first off, pumps make better pushers than you do suckers. So, first off, it doesn't want to really draw fluid all that well. Anyway, so, but once it's in here and it's working, next thing you know, if you don't use it for several weeks, well, then this all dries out, and then the pump tends to dry out in little seals and everything. When you start working them, they'll start to score. Sometimes they'll rip, sometimes they'll crack. They're just a pain in the butt. That's why on my Monte Carlo I went with one of these replacements. This is a, I'll put this in line with that. This is an electric pump. There's no mechanical going back and forth and what have you. So, you know, the seals don't rot and all of that. These electrical pumps, I personally like this design. There's less stuff to fail. It's just one little motor, as opposed to 3 valves, a piston ring, and a seal. It's just, I don't like that design. All right, now I'm going to lube this, the other side of this ball joint right here. You can kind of see it right there. Get in there with this and just go to town. There we go. That ought to do. So as usual, after some tiny laden indentations. I got it in there. Now, let's see about we're all typed up. Go. Well, it's in there. It's all together. Let's put this plate back on. See. It looks like we're done. By the way, this access panel is not found on this 1968 Eldorados. Don't know about the other years, but it's typically not found on the Eldorados. There you go.
If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, please be sure to click the like button. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think it's time for a drive.